have already seen the end of everything. I know what happens to judges and sinners.
If you were immortal, not bound by the shackles of time, how would you live? This is the story of a being known by many names: Traveler, Crafter, and most recently, Sparky. An immortal being who went from having godlike powers to being a slave. Though the direct origins of Sparky are unknown, there is a lot of information that points towards this character's beginning. To understand this, we first need to cover the surrounding story around the world and how Sparky was able to learn about runes and attain his power. In the beginning, Adir ruled over the world for centuries. There are many perspectives on how he ruled over them, but the main story goes, he was attacked by the humans that he ruled over. He created the Rogar to defend his temple and followers. However, he was eventually defeated by 3 heroes, or judges. When this happened, Adir and his entire temple were banished to another realm, a prison realm and the Rogar realm. In the temple audio note from the first game, it states that when the judges banished the god, the Rogar disappeared, along with the whole temple. People say that sometimes, when you visit the Hand of God mountains, you can see a mirage of the temple. Could it be that they somehow got sucked into another dimension of sorts? In the world of Lords of the Fallen, there are multiple realms, or dimensions, and they are separated by a layer of sorts that prevents most beings from crossing between these realities. However, there are rifts that form where the thin layer between dimensions start to break. Most rifts are inaccessible sources of energy, but the strong ones are able to form links between the dimensions and become a sort of pathway. Even still, these pathways appear as a whirlwind, destroying or changing any that dare pass through. There is a silver lining though: shards. These shards form wherever there's a rift. When the energy of the realities clash together, they crystallize into an incredible form of power. And from these crystals, runes can be forged, though sometimes runes can be created naturally. Some runes are like ghosts that travel between the dimensions. They form links between the realms and transport power from one dimension to another. A man was able to discover and learn the secrets of this crystallized power. The audio note, Time, gives us some insight into the traveler's discovery and experimentation with the shards and runes.
What is time? A blink of an eye and eternity in equal amounts. I have been everywhere and seen everything. Looking at the shimmering surface of the runes, my mind seems to explode into 1,000,000 shards. They invite me to play with time itself. Should I follow their call, I wonder?
Using the knowledge he learned, he broke his mortal chains and lived for centuries, driven by a single goal of learning everything about runes and the universe in general. Eventually, he succeeded, and over the course of centuries, he was able to create a Crystal of Travels, an object of immense power that would allow someone to travel between the whirlwind of the dimensional rifts. Here, the traveler used his creation to move between the realms. Traveling between realities, though, takes a heavy toll, and there is an audio note where he explains the whirlwinds and the difficulties of passing between these rifts.
In the beginning, it hurt to travel between the dimensions. Oh, the pain. It was unbearable, but it gets better. So much better. Why stay in one place when all of time and space is wide open? I saw the chaos that binds everything, and it is unlike anything else in the world.
With his crystal creation, the traveler continued learning and studying the universe, experimenting with his abilities, trying and testing things that no mortal would dare. During one of his travels, he finds a sword of great power that was left on Earth, but it carried a heavy curse. It caused the user to get weaker and weaker the longer they wielded the weapon. It's not a weapon made for man, and most would have left it alone. The sword was incredible, but who could use it? This was just something the traveler thought to overcome, and he mentions, if I find the right runes, if I only imbue them on it, this sword will be fit for gods. These exploits and experiments would not go unnoticed though. You see, The Crystal of Travels had grown in power along with the Traveler. Knowing the abilities of this crystal, the Rogar made a plan to trap him in their realm, and they were successful. They were able to trap the Traveler, taking away his prized possession, his biggest treasure, and now his biggest loss. It took hundreds of years to make, and it took minutes for the Rogar to take away. With this crystal, the Rogar are able to return to the realm of man, Axiom, and they begin preparations for returning Adir back to the realm of Axiom as well. The following takes place during the events of the first game, where Harkon is tasked with stopping Adir and defeating all the Rogar that are coming out in hordes from the Rogar realm. Having lost his crystal, the Traveler is not fully defeated, as we can see insight into his thoughts during these events.
The journey left me stranded. Old temples, existing forever. Forbidden chambers, frozen in eternity. My crystals have been taken, or will be taken. And my mind seems gone as well. I need to build them anew, forge them, craft them. I am trapped. A hammer and an anvil will be my new heartbeat. The sound of metal replacing the crystalline sparkle of a never-ending world.
No longer being able to explore the universe, the Traveler's purpose changes. Using his knowledge, he begins to forge new runes and put his skills to use. The exact amount of time he is trapped within the Rogar realm is unknown, since time and space don't apply the same to him. But honestly, that doesn't matter much anyways, as in Harkon's crusade against the Rogar, it would eventually lead him into the realm and to meet the Traveler. At first, Harkon believes him to be a monster, but quickly discovers otherwise. As the Traveler explains to Harkon, he does not abide by mortal laws, that he had left the realm of men hundreds of lifetimes ago, and he does not even have a name anymore. Intrigued by this cryptic way of talking, Harkon asks what the Traveler's doing here, to which he explains something is searching for him, a crystal of high value, a special crystal that can render tears between realms, an item powerful enough to distort ruptures. At this moment, Harkon realizes that this is what the Rogar are using to invade Axiom. The Traveler tells Harkon where to find this crystal, to remove it so that the Rogar will travel no more. And once that's done, he asks Harkon return the crystal to him. One thing is left on Harkon's mind though, and he asks the strange nameless creature,
"Are you a smith of some sort?"
In some ways, yes. You could say so. I do have dealings with weapons and the like.
Craft something for me.
You ask me for a glass of water, and I could give you the ocean.
Give me the ocean then.
Show me one of your runes, and with this rune, you can imbue any weapon you like.
From here on out, the Traveler has a new name to fit his role, Crafter. After defeating a number of Rogar and collecting the crystal, Harkon returns it to the Crafter. From here, the Crafter states that if Harkon ever needs any runes crafted, he'd be there for him. A promise that Harkon takes to heart. As Harkon defeats all the Rogar lords one by one, Adir knows that he cannot defeat him, and takes a gamble. He creates a powerful object, the Rune of Adir. Giving Harkon the rune, he offers him a choice, to help him or defeat him. Feeling the power of the rune and influence of it, Harkon seeks counsel with the Crafter to see what the rune is capable of. The Crafter explains that it is capable of everything. It is a tool of chaos that can create and destroy. It is power born from weakness, and weakness turned into power. Having been rejected by humanity, and unknowing if the god's words are true, Harkon decides not to side with either. He decides not to forge the rune into anything. This decision leaves the Crafter thinking of all the experiences he has had in his countless lifetimes. That no matter what happens, the end result is always the same. Nothing ever changes, which is explained in the audio note, Fate.
I have already seen the end of everything. I know what happens to judges and sinners, but is that the real end? Or just a chaotic image?
With that said, the Crafter still can't shake the feeling that Harkon could be different, and perhaps something can be done to change fate. Explained in the Observer audio note.
No, nothing is written in stone. But the outcome of all this, The end of the judges. The fate of the gods. Who says it can't be changed by those who have the power? Not me. I'm just an observer now.
And so, Harkon defeats Antanas without using the rune, essentially restoring balance to the world, by not following Adir's wishes of using the rune as a weapon, and not going against Adir by turning the rune into armor. Harkon neither kills or helps the god, proving the crafter's theory correct, that something can be done by those with enough power. And so, with the crystal returned, and Harkon's battle against the Rogar over, the crafter returns to his dimensional travel and studying of runes. For hundreds of years, the crafter would travel the universe, crossing countless realities and bearing witness to wonders beyond measure. And yet time numbed it all to him. During these travels, the crafter watched the cataclysmic death of a universe. Looking for a quick way out, he uses his Crystal of Travels to create a rift, but being so close to such a devastating event would not leave him unscathed. In fact, it left the crafter on death's door. Fortunately, he did manage to escape and return to the realm of Axia. Unfortunately, he was found by Gerlinda, where in his weakened and injured state, Gerlinda used her knowledge of runes to bind the crafter to her, removing his powers and making it that if she died, so too would he, turning a once powerful being into a slave. Restrained by the magic manacles, Gerlinda tortured the crafter in attempts to learn more about this strange creature that she had stumbled upon. After multiple weeks of pain and torture, Gerlinda managed to get some information from the crafter. She was able to learn that he had in-depth knowledge of runes, along with the fact that long ago, the crafter had carved some of his knowledge and power into specific rune tablets, then scattered them throughout the lands of Axia. While I can only speculate on this, these crystal rune tablets were likely created after the crafter had been helped by Harkon long ago, and they were created as a failsafe should he ever be separated from his prized Crystal of Travels again. Learning that the rune tablets might be in Mornstead, Gerlinda makes them travel there, where her and the crafter, who by this point she is renamed to Sparky, are greeted by the corrupted Hallowed Sentinels. The greeting is not a welcome one though. They are both trapped, locked in a prison, and forced to make weapons, along with a whole lot of elves. There would be an unsuspecting hero to them though. From here, the lamp bearer arrives, and of course, frees Gerlinda, where her and Sparky make their way back to Skyrest. Upon talking with them again, Gerlinda tasks the lamp bearer with finding the tablets scattered throughout the land. As the lamp bearer continues their journey, they are able to find the runes. After the first 2 tablets are collected, Sparky decides to take a gamble. A bet to rely on the humanity of our main character. Having cast off his mortal form long ago, Sparky now regrets his decision and sees that he was a fool for having discarded his humanity and remaining as merely an observer. He tells the lamp bearer that if Gerlinda is given the knowledge she seeks, she'll only use it to bring pain and misery. So instead of giving the 3rd tablet to her, to give it to him. The lamp bearer continues their journey along Mornstead, eventually finding the 3rd tablet. Upon returning, both Gerlinda and Sparky are both desperate for it. Here, Sparky makes one last attempt to appeal to the lamp bearer's kindness, mentioning that if that 3rd tablet is given to Gerlinda, she'll have no further use for him. But in his possession, the rune would allow him to finally cast off his shackles. You see, the 3rd rune tablet was more powerful than the previous 2, and while not omnipotent, Sparky knew much, including a level of expertise with runes, the likes of which had never been equaled. A mastery achieved across numerous ages and realities. This 3rd tablet was essentially another Crystal of Travel. Most are unable to use its full power, similar to how Harkon couldn't use the original Crystal of Travels to move across realities. But in Sparky's unrivaled hands, it could be used to break the manacles binding him and once again travel the dimensions. Sympathizing with Sparky, the lamp bearer gives the 3rd tablet to him, allowing Sparky to free himself. From here, he of course thanks the lamp bearer and freely offers all of his knowledge of runes to the lamp bearer. Faring the lamp bearer well, Sparky uses the 3rd tablet to escape and resume his exploration of the unending marvels of the universe. There is another version of this story, one with a more grim ending. If the lamp bearer decides to give the 3rd tablet to Gerlinda, she kills Sparky and turns him into a powerful rune, which can be noted in the crafter's essence item, where it states the following. As Gerlinda prepared to take the life of her slave, he thought back on the countless lifetimes worth of experiences and memories, and was struck by a revelation which filled him with a profound grief. It wasn't enough. The more grim ending is the less likely of the two, though. This is because Sparky, or the Crafter, has played a significant role throughout both games. And with the change of perspective that he has at the end, it is highly likely that the Crafter will play another more hands-on and helpful role in future entries for Lords of the Fallen. And so, that's the story of a godlike being, one of many names, and unmatched knowledge of runes. The story of Sparky. I've given you my thoughts. I'd love to see what you guys think in the comment section, or if you simply don't know what to say, comment "I saved Sparky" and I'll like every single one. Thank you so much for following along with the story, and I'll see you next time.